The past perfect continuous, progressive tense. This tense is a verb tense in English used to describe actions or events that started in the past, continued for some time, and were still ongoing or had just ended before another past action or point in time. Here are the main uses of the past perfect continuous tense. Describing duration before a point in the past. It is used to express the duration of an action or event that started before a specific point in the past and continued up to that point. Examples: she had been studying for hours before the power outage occurred. She had been studying for hours before she finally took a break to eat dinner. They had been working on the project tirelessly until it was completed yesterday. I had been living in that small town for over a decade when I decided to move to the city. He had been practicing the piano every day for months before his recital last week. She had been jogging in the park for nearly an hour before it started raining heavily. They had been volunteering at the local shelter for years before they relocated to a different city. He had been working as a chef at the restaurant since its opening until it closed last year. I had been saving money diligently for my dream vacation, and I finally booked the trip. She had been attending the same yoga class for months before she switched to a different studio. Explaining cause and effect. It can be used to explain why something happened in the past by highlighting an ongoing action or situation. Examples: he was tired because he had been working late into the night. She had been practicing her guitar skills diligently, so she performed flawlessly at the concert. He had been saving money for months, which is why he could afford the new car. They had been working tirelessly on the project, which resulted in its successful completion. I had been studying French regularly, which is why I could communicate fluently during my trip. She had been investing wisely for years, which enabled her to retire early. They had been cleaning and organizing the house all weekend, so it was spotless for the party. I had been following a strict diet and exercise regimen, resulting in significant weight loss. He had been volunteering at the shelter consistently, which led to the adoption of many animals. She had been attending leadership training programs, which eventually led to her promotion. Narrating in past actions in sequence. When narrating past events in chronological order, the past perfect continuous is used to describe the earlier ongoing action. Examples: she had been cooking when the guests arrived. She had been cooking dinner when the power suddenly went out. They had been hiking for hours before they reached the summit of the mountain. I had been studying at the library all afternoon when I received a call from my friend. He had been working late at the office when his boss finally approved the project. She had been gardening in the backyard when the rain started pouring down. They had been traveling for days before they arrived at their destination. I had been jogging in the park when I spotted a rare bird perched in a tree. He had been fishing by the river all morning when he caught the largest fish of his life. She had been attending the conference for hours before the keynote speaker took the stage. Expressing ongoing actions interrupted by another event. It describes an action that was ongoing in the past but was interrupted by another event or action. Examples: I had been reading a book when the phone rang. She had been reading a book when the doorbell rang unexpectedly. They had been cooking dinner when the smoke detector suddenly went off. I had been watching a movie when the power outage plunged the room into darkness. He had been working on his laptop when a sudden thunderstorm forced him to shut it down. She had been painting a masterpiece when she accidentally spilled paint all over her canvas. They had been enjoying a picnic when a swarm of bees descended upon their food. I had been practicing my guitar chords when a loud noise from the construction site next door disturbed my concentration. He had been swimming in the pool when a lifeguard blew the whistle for everyone to evacuate due to a storm warning. She had been giving a presentation when the fire alarm suddenly rang, prompting everyone to exit the building. Speculating about past actions. It can be used to speculate or make assumptions about past actions. Examples: they had probably been waiting for us when we arrived. He had been working late, so he might not have had time to pick up the groceries. She had been taking dance lessons, which could explain her graceful moves on the dance floor. They had been discussing something important, so they probably didn't notice the time. I had been practicing my presentation repeatedly, so I should have been well prepared. She had been attending the gym regularly, which might have contributed to her increased fitness level. He had been reading a lot lately, so he likely had a good grasp of the topic. They had been studying together for weeks, which could have improved their performance on the exam. She had been experimenting with new recipes, so the meal must have tasted delicious. I had been receiving encouraging feedback, so I was probably doing something right. Emphasizing the duration of an action. It is used to emphasize the length or duration of an action that took place before a certain point in the past. Examples: he had been living in that city for 10 years before he moved. She had been living in Paris for 3 years before she decided to move back to her hometown. They had been waiting at the airport for hours due to the flight delay. He had been jogging in the park for the entire morning, trying to improve his fitness. She had been working on the novel since the beginning of the year, determined to finish it. I had been attending university lectures for months, gaining knowledge in various subjects. They had been renovating the old house for nearly a year, restoring it to its former glory. He had been teaching English to non-native speakers for a decade, helping them become proficient. She had been volunteering at the animal shelter for years, providing care to abandoned pets. I had been practicing mindfulness meditation daily for months, seeking inner peace and balance. Contrasting past actions. It is often used to contrast two past actions or events, one of which was continuous. Examples: she had been working hard, but she couldn't save enough money. She had been studying for hours, but she couldn't answer the difficult exam questions correctly. They had been practicing their soccer skills all week, yet they lost the match. I had been working diligently, but my promotion was given to someone else. He had been training rigorously, but he still couldn't break the world record. She had been saving money consistently, but unexpected expenses depleted her savings. They had been preparing for the presentation thoroughly, yet they received negative feedback. I had been learning the language for years, but I struggled to hold a basic conversation. She had been attending workshops on time management, but her schedule remained chaotic. He had been investing wisely, but the economic downturn led to significant losses. Describing ongoing situations that changed. It can be used to describe ongoing situations that changed in the past. Examples: the weather had been getting warmer until the sudden snowstorm hit. The weather had been getting warmer until an unexpected cold front moved in, bringing frost. She had been living a peaceful life until a sudden conflict erupted in her neighborhood. They had been enjoying their vacation until food poisoning struck, making them ill. I had been working at the company for years until a restructuring led to my layoff. He had been pursuing a career in finance until he decided to switch to the field of technology. She had been following a strict diet until she succumbed to temptation and ate a whole chocolate cake. They had been traveling around the world until the pandemic restricted their movement. I had been attending the same gym for years until I relocated to a different city. He had been enjoying the tranquility of the countryside until a noisy construction project began nearby. Expressing regret or disappointment. In some cases, the past perfect continuous can be used to express regret or disappointment about an action or situation. Examples: I had been hoping to meet you at the party, but you didn't come. I had been hoping to meet you at the party, but you didn't come. She had been dreaming of traveling to Europe, but her plans fell through. They had been working so hard on the project, only to see it fail in the end. I had been saving money for months, but an unexpected expense wiped out my savings. She had been eagerly waiting for the concert, but it was canceled at the last minute. He had been trying his best to mend the relationship, but it eventually fell apart. They had been studying tirelessly for the exam, yet they didn't perform as well as they had hoped. I had been nurturing that plant for years, and it withered due to neglect. She had been practicing for the competition nonstop, but she didn't make it to the finals.